don't own Naruto. It belongs to Kishimoto. Chapter 1. Spacebreaker. Somewhere in the land of grass, the land was shattered. Shards of rocks were flying, trees were cut, and a bridge was destroyed in a deafening explosion. Faster than the wind, two figures engaged each other in battle, circling, running away, beginning a deadly dance of punches and blows. The fighters were a red teenager with 3 tails and a white man with snakes attached to his hand. The crimson juggernaut's cloak of chakra burned the man's reptilian allies, and a great sphere formed in his left hand. The white snake gracefully avoided it, and the Rasengan instead crashed on the ground, creating a crater as large as a house. Slamming his hands together, the treacherous Sannin began a hand-seal sequence. Dozens of cobras escaped from his mouths, biting the vessel before being consumed by his unholy chakra. The container fell, his body covered with wounds. "Does that hurt much, Naruto-kun?" Orochimaru asked, with mock concern. He was filled with a sadistic joy. The teen immediately stood up, while the power of the fox healed his flesh and skin. "I barely felt it," he stated, lying through his teeth. Like your teammate, Orochimaru's clothes were still tainted by Yamato's blood. But I forget. He didn't have the QB to help him, so he must have died painfully. Naruto's fists clenched. He only knew Yamato for a few days, but he was saddened and enraged by his death. He failed to save him like Sasuke. "You will pay for that," he promised. Team 7's mission was to meet a spy at the bridge, a person that could help them find Sasuke. When they arrived, they discovered his identity, Yakushi Kabuto, the treacherous medic nin. But before they could do anything, Orochimaru had shown up, and Kabuto had attacked the disguised Yamato, revealing his true allegiance to the snake. It was at that moment that Sai backstabbed them. "Why, Sai?" Naruto asked, avoiding a swing of the teen's sword. His aggressor didn't respond verbally, only increasing the speed of his assaults. Looking sideways, the demon vessel saw Kabuto and Sakura engaged in a deadly dance of medical jutsu, and Yamato barely avoiding the fists of Orochimaru. "Why are you doing that?" he shouted as he punched the other boy in the belly. "Why do you betray us?" "It is my mission." His voice was cold, emotionless. "Orochimaru-san has an alliance with the authorities of Konoha, and I cannot allow you to kill him." "That's bullshit!" Naruto punched Sai in the head, and he heard his opponent's nose breaking under the strength of the blow. Sai didn't even flinch. "Believe what you want, that's the truth. I am sorry, but I will have to remove you." "Then, I am sorry too." The vessel punched the traitor again, and again. Sai's face was now bruised and bleeding. Sai riposted, cutting the skin of Naruto's left cheek with his blade. A small tear of blood fell on the ground as Sai's disturbing smile widened even more. "If you want to live, you will have to kill me. We don't have to kill each other. We are ninjas. We are killing machines." The statement was flat, as if it was an universal truth. "One of us will die today. If you don't kill me, then your friends will die too." Naruto suddenly realized something. "You want to die?" Sai's fake smile shattered a bit. It was awfully disturbing, but it confirmed Naruto's idea. "I only live for the mission. I have no name nor identity. Only the mission. Death is the only alternative to the mission. You can stop. You can live for yourself." He formed a Rasengan in his right hand. "As I told you, I don't exist. I can't feel anything. I will never be able to live normally. I am a tool, and tools only exist to be used, or to be broken." The smile returned. "Please, kill your heart," he charged at the container, his blade in hands. Naruto closed his eyes. "I am sorry," he said as his Rasengan tore the boy apart. And then it got worse. "Sensei!" Naruto could only watch helplessly as a dozen of snakes bit Yamato. The reptiles shredded his skin, tearing away his flesh and basting Orochimaru with human blood. Then, nonchalantly, the creatures released their grip, leaving the bloody mess falling on the soil. The Sannin then glared at the surviving members of Team 7. "Now, it's you, Orochimaru-sama." Naruto's Rasengan didn't kill the traitor, it only hit Kabuto's belly. The medic had jumped between the two of them, saving the snake at the cost of his own life. As the vessel saw the transpierced body of his enemy, completely bloodied, Naruto found similarities between the current situation and Haku's death at the Land of Wave. Like Zabuza before him, Orochimaru tried to destroy them both. Unlike the Mist Nin, he didn't use a sword, but a wind jutsu. Naruto barely had the time to withdraw his arm before the air cut Kabuto's corpse in half. The snake smiled. "Thank you, Kabuto. I knew I was right to recruit you. Still, you could have killed the girl. Disappointing." Disgusted by the man's lack of emotion for his subordinate's sacrifice, and angry at him for killing Yamato, Naruto felt the power of the QB racing in his veins. As he changed of appearance, becoming more bestial and being wrapped in a cloak of red chakra, Naruto looked sideways at Sakura. "We return to Konoha. I will kill him here and now, but I need a lot of space. I don't want you to die in the crossfire." "But, Flee," he ordered her. "Leave." Sakura reluctantly obeyed. "Don't die," she shouted as she disappeared within the forest. "I will come back, I promise," he yelled back. Orochimaru smiled, amused. "I am a bit angry, Naruto-kun. You underestimate me. But let me in my great generosity teach you a valuable lesson." He began a hand seal sequence. "Don't make promise that you can't keep." As three tails of power formed in his back, Naruto charged at his adversary, intent on avenging the Sannin Yamato, and all the people killed by the man. The Sannin smirked. "Always so strong, so courageous, even in the face of your own failures. Somehow I have the impression of fighting another Minato, one without the original's talent." The Jinchuriki's eyebrows raised. "Who?" He wondered. Why did he ask? Sakura's life depended on him, and he had to stay focused. The man's vicious smirk widened. "What? Jiraiya didn't tell you?" he sneered. "But it is not like he taught you anything valuable." Naruto gritted his teeth. The snake was trying to anger him. He knew that, so he tried to calm himself. He had learnt long ago that his hot-blooded nature had only brought him problems. While preparing himself to attack, he decided to answer to his enemy. "He taught me many things." The Sannin laughed. It was neither psychotic nor ironical, simply honest. Naruto was completely taken aback by this reaction. "What? A big sphere of chakra? How to summon toads? Seriously, what did you learn during these last 3 years? How to make a bigger Rasengan?" The three tails of chakra behind Naruto stopped to move as he stiffened. He hated to admit it, but the Sannin was right. As he failed to find an adequate answer, the snake continued to mock him. "Did he teach you how to use toads for practical techniques? Did he teach you his sealing art? Did he teach you any new jutsu?" he asked cruelly. Naruto frowned. "He taught me how to use the Kyuubi's chakra." "No," the Sannin smiled. "This power isn't yours. The fox is only loaning it to you, while killing you from within." Naruto's surprise must have shown on his face, because the traitor decided to explain himself. "Aren't you aware of the price of this chakra? It's breaking down your body, shortening your life expectancy. You must have lost, 15 years of your life during your training with Jiraiya? And let's not talk about how many times you used that power during your battles. You will be lucky if you reach 60. Naruto closed his fists. "It wasn't true. It wasn't true." "You must have already felt it before. That suffering that comes when this red energy fades away. It is only a shard of the existence that awaits you as Konoha's sacrifice." "That's not true," Naruto shouted. "Tsunade?" "Tsunade lies to you," Orochimaru responded. "If she wanted you to be strong, you would already be able to compete with me without the fox." With the power of the Cage Bunshin, your path could have been one of greatness. The power to learn everything, to assimilate the knowledge thousands of your copies have collected. He glared at Naruto. That power, I have looked for it, killed for it, and you, and only you, could have used it to its full potential. He walked in circle around Naruto and his guards. What are you talking about? Naruto asked, more and more confused. The man was lying. He knew that, but he seemed so honest. Still, his eyes followed his nemesis's every moves. The snake's eyes transformed into two pits of hatred and scorn. You never found out. The memories of a Cage Bushin always return to the original. If you had created thousands clones, made them practice hundreds of techniques during the last 3 years, then you would have been a credible challenger, and not a banal child dependent on the power of a treacherous demon. The lie was... No, it wasn't a lie, he realized. It was the truth. All the times he had vivid memories of 100 of death, of Gaara's sand crushing him, of that bone freak's deadly attacks. And do you know that the Rasengan is incomplete? That elemental manipulation could have finished it. But, excuse me, I forget. You don't even know what elemental manipulation is, don't you? Too bad. Sasuke knows. Jiraiya knows. Kakashi knows. I know. Even your friends must know. You're nothing more than a red chakra pump. Konoha kept you on leash, stained your growth, and weakened you. Lies. 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 But then they acted the same with your mother, so I can understand. Naruto froze. That proud lady of the whirlpool, so strong, so active, so hated, Orochimaru shouted with an insane glee. The previous Kyuubi's vessel, restrained by Konoha, weakened, cast aside, until your father saved her from her misery. He was lying, You knew my parents. Every ninja in this rotten place knew them. The Sannin spat. The Sandaime, their protector. Kakashi, your father's student. He smiled cruelly. Jiraiya, your godfather. Rage filled Naruto's heart, and the Kyuubi's voice roared for blood and destruction in his mind. You are lying. Pain raced through his body as a sword erupted from the snake's mouth, transpiercing his thorax. Rage became insane hatred, and the Kyuubi's chakra intensified. Naruto's skin was torn away as blood and demonic energy fused to create an unholy scarlet armor. As a fourth tail formed behind him, and as he took the appearance of a miniature demon fox, the boy struggled to maintain control over his body. Let me kill him, the Kyuubi's voice said in his mind. Let me take care of him. That power is not your own. Orochimaru withdrew the kusanagi of his opponent's body, and this time tried to behead him with an elegant swing of his blade. The composite being's neck stopped the blade like a rock. One of the tails smashed the Sannin, burning the lower half of his body. However, it wasn't enough as a second, fully healed Orochimaru emerged from his older self's mouth. The Sandaime never believed in you. The Sannin taunted. He pretended to love you, but did nothing to help you reach your full potential. You think it is the first time the old fool has done that? Then why do you think I deserted Konoha? He tried to restrain all those who could surpass him. Before the struggling spirit of Naruto could respond, the snake's fingers wrapped themselves with purple flames. And without limits, my power now surpasses the Kyuubi itself. He opened his palm, and then touched the transformed Naruto's belly. The container fell on the floor immediately, his scream resonating through the entire battlefield. No word precise enough to describe what the team felt at that moment existed in this word. Pain was far too weak, and torture an understatement. In an instant, the power flowing in Naruto's veins left, giving way to the greatest dolor imaginable. He felt all of his body burning from the inside. The Kyuubi's coherent spirit was shattered instantly, leaving only his unrestrained hatred and chaotic memories instead. The worst thing was that the red chakra was still leaking from the seal, but without any will to direct it. The wild power shredded Naruto's chakra coils while healing them, filled his mind with terrifying images of slaughter and misery. But despite all his hatred and malice, the QB discovered this day that even his evil couldn't overcome the sheer determination and willpower of his container. Naruto, despite the pain, remained sane and aware of his surroundings. But as he saw Orochimaru gleefully enjoying his victim's situation with a sadistic smirk, the blonde teen also saw images of his past behind his enemy. The day he learned to tree walk, the day he met Jiraiya, the day he finished the Rasengan. "They taught me?" he muttered. "They taught you basics." Orochimaru's voice was soft and friendly. Naruto could have mistaken his tone for one of kindness, but he was painfully aware that the Sannin was simply delighted to hurt him even more. Kakashi taught Sasuke his best jutsu. During these 3 years, while I have taught Sasuke jutsu, sealing, practical summoning, genjutsu, dozens of jutsu, advanced taijutsu, and elemental manipulation. Jiraiya has only corrected some of the flaws in your taijutsu, taught you how to make a bigger Rasengan, and how to ask the fox for chakra. That is all. He lowered his head to lock eyes with his victim. Because of the Sandaim's and Tsunade's orders. Because your village did not believe in you. Because you were not meant to be a ninja, but a slave. Naruto didn't respond. He wanted to, but he realized it was the truth. The demon vessel was completely self-taught. He had never received help, or never enough. He had never got any real training, only pointers, and he didn't know who his parents were, until Orochimaru told him. Why had he been so naive? Why had he believed they would help him? Why had he loved them? They had lied to him, and he had always known. He realized that, deep down, he had always repressed these thoughts. He wanted their acknowledgement, he wanted them to praise him, and he fell for their false friendship. Orochimaru smirked. But don't worry, you will be avenged. As soon as I take over Sasuke's body, I will attack Konoha again, and burn it to the ground. After I kill your girlfriend, of course. Somehow, Naruto, hearing these words, found the strength to move. He punched the snake in the face. Orochimaru was catapulted backward, hitting a tree and breaking it. As he stood up again, Naruto, covered with an informed mix of blood and wild chakra, felt the seal on his stomach burning. Looking briefly at it, the teen noticed it had changed. It was now a twisted symbol, a black web, fluctuating with periodic pulses of chakra. "You are right, Orochimaru," he said, while the pain left, replaced with a twisted feeling of omnipotence. "This power isn't my own, like this body isn't yours. It doesn't matter." He formed a sphere of chakra with his right hand. "Do you know why?" Orochimaru didn't respond. "Because even among those liars, I found real friends." Images of Iruka, the owners of the Ikaraku, Sakura, the other Konoha rookies, and Lee's team formed in his mind. "And I will not allow you to hurt them." At that instant, Orochimaru understood that he had awakened a sleeping giant. "Crap," he muttered as the ball of energy reached him, pulverizing the landscape with a bright flash and deafening sound. When the dust cleared up, the Sannin had disappeared. In his place, a giant crater. As the vessel thought his adversary was finally dead, something erupted from the ground. A disgusting mass of white flesh grew more and more, until it reached the size of Gamabunta. 8 heads of snakes were now gazing hatefully at the teen. One of the Hydra's mouths opened, revealing the nude torso of Orochimaru instead of its tongue, the Kusanagi in his hands. "That's a strong attack that you have there, Naruto-kun," he taunted him. "But it's not strong enough." Unfazed, Naruto ran at the beast. He didn't know for how long he could manage to control the Kyuubi's wild chakra, or if he would even survive for long, but at least he would drag the fox and the snake in the underworld with him. As he felt the seal on his stomach more and more, the vessel reached his enemy at full speed. The 7 other heads of the monster reared up to strike and tried to bite him. But their speed couldn't keep up with the red juggernaut, who avoided all of them. "Friends!" Orochimaru shouted. That's your reason to fight. Open your eyes. Your friends are dragging you down to their level, restraining your potential. Jumping, Naruto soon found himself flying at Orochimaru himself. They are chains. The Sannin snarled as he moved his weapon. Naruto didn't avoid the stab. Instead, he used the opportunity to grab the man's head with his chakra-charged hands. The blade did penetrate through the wild, chaotic chakra cloak, piercing his left shoulder. But Naruto did not care. His fingers burned Orochimaru's flesh, making him scream with pain. If my life was a lie, the container rasped, with a deep, hollow voice, as swirling winds of red chakra enveloped him and his nemesis both. If everything I did was for nothing, if everything I believed in was an illusion, then nothing matters anymore. I don't care if I die here. I'm taking you with me, Orochimaru. The seal on his stomach fluctuated, changed, and space itself twisted into a black hole. No, Orochimaru screamed desperately, as the void consumed his Hydra's body. I will not die here. I will reach eternity and become omniscient. The eyes of your friend will be mine. Everything will be mine. I am Orochimaru of the Sannin, the Necromancer, the Sandame's killer, and I will not be defeated. Flesh became dust, blood became gas, and the immortal Sannin was swallowed into nothingness. I am Orochimaru, and my will be done. The Sannin's last words resonated in Naruto's head as he saw him disappear before him. Only the Kusanagi sword, now in his hands, was the proof that Orochimaru even existed. The whole had consumed him completely, like an ogre. The world was breaking down. Powerful rays of light swarmed Naruto, as his surroundings were erased from existence. A crimson wind of chakra enveloped him, and he sensed the seal burning away his skin. I'm sorry, Sakura-chan, he muttered, with sadness in his voice. You will have to save Sasuke without me. A second later, he found himself lying on a street, under a clouded sky. Hey. He kept his eyes closed. Hey, wake up! The girly voice shrieked. Wake up! Naruto grumbled, before opening his eyes. He saw a blonde, cute infant angel. Damn, you're a lazy bastard. Get up or I will kick you in the balls. Or maybe not. Naruto gritted his teeth. What do you want? What do I want? You passed out in front of my home. Can't you find another place to sleep? Are you a hobo? Naruto reddened at the accusation. I am not a hobo. I am a ninja. Really? She asked, surprised. Then she noticed his headband. Oh, sorry. Are you a hobo ninja? He immediately stood up, with a mask of anger over his face. I am not a hobo, damn it. I am a genin of Konoha. The girl took a step back, terrified, and Naruto suddenly noticed he was still carrying the Kusanagi in his left hand. He immediately softened up. Sorry, I didn't want to scare you. I am in quite a bad mood. He didn't know how, but he had survived. Well, he was tired as hell, bruised, and his clothes were shredded at some places. But at least, Naruto was alive. He didn't know where he was, but it certainly wasn't the battlefield where he just killed Orochimaru. Perhaps had he been summoned, teleported somewhere by the unleashed power. The team would have to look at the seal to check it out. The girl accepted his excuses with a nod. She was Konohamaru's age, had long blonde hair and beautiful blue eyes. She had strange marks on her cheeks, and was wearing an orange vest and pants. She looked like a younger version of his female transformation. As much as he was pleased to see someone wearing the best color ever, he had more important things to do. First and foremost, he had to check up if Sakura had survived. Secondly, he had to interrogate his teachers on Orochimaru's revelations. As much as he was loath to admit it, the monster did have a point, and if his mother really was the previous container of the Kyuubi, then he had to know. Thirdly, he had to warn Tsunade about Sai's treachery. And finally, he had to show Jiraiya the seal on his stomach. Well, he said to the girl. Can you tell me where I am exactly? She frowned at him. Naruto knew this look well. Are you stupid was written all over her face? In Konoha. The southern district, to be more precise. So he was near his home. And in Konoha itself. Was it fate that transported him there? Looking at his surroundings, Naruto found that, yes, he was in front of his home. He saw the Hawkage Tower standing far away from them, and the 4 village leaders watching over the town. The teen blinked. 4? Where's the Godame's face? The girl smiled. Godame. I know Sandaime Gigi is old, but he did not kick the bucket yet. And if you want to see the future Godame, then here I am for you. She pointed her finger at her face. Still confused, the vessel stared dumbly at the girl. Who are you? Me? She grinned. I'm gonna be the future's first female Hawkage ever, the great Naruto Uzumaki. Shock spread over Naruto's face. It was definitely a crazy place. It was Konoha. The districts were the same, and with the exception of the missing head of Tsunade, everything was identical to the original village, down to the last house. But the Sandaime was a lie. The oldest of all Hokages wasn't dead and buried, killed by his own favored student. And the townsfolk were different. Younger. First and foremost, he saw some of his friends, the other rookie 9. And they were the same age as Konohamaru. He saw Shikamaru and Chuji eating on the top of a building. He watched Sasuke training at his empty compound. Heck, he even observed Kiba taking Akamaru on a walk. The dog was now a puppy, adorable, but not an adult. Like in Naruto's Konoha. Finally, there was one last little problem. So, Hobo-san, what are you doing exactly? You're on a walk. The girl followed him everywhere, like Konohamaru. Though if she was who he thought she was, then it was expected of her to seek the company of a person that didn't ignore or threaten her. He cited, I am not a hobo. Yeah, right. She snorted sarcastically. What's your name, actually? I gave you mine. Outwardly, Naruto was the very picture of calm. Inwardly, he was a nervous wreck. He thought about what kind of name he could give, and then found one. Sai. Sai? He nodded. That's a nice name. Yeah, Naruto said. Naruko is a nice name too. It was completely lame, but it had a strange consequence. The girl's smile widened hugely. It was a normal smile, not the false one she was always showing to the world. Thank you, mister. It's nothing, he stiffened. The vessel looked at the top of a building, but saw nothing. Strangely, he had the feeling that someone was watching them. He gave his kindest smile to the little girl. You know what, Naruko, I am a bit hungry. Do you know a good restaurant? Yes. She was almost jumping in place. It's the Ikiraku ramen stand, and Ayama-chan and Tuchi Gigi sell the best ramen in the world. Naruto nodded. Another clue? You know what, I'm feeling generous today. Do you want a meal? She stared at him with an odd expression. Seriously? Yeah. She stayed silent a moment, and then, You're the best hobo ever. The Ambu gritted his teeth. He knows we are observing him. You're sure, dog? Yugao Uzuki asked her senpai. The man nodded. For a young man of his age, he has good instincts. He doesn't show it, but he is on his guard. What do we do then? He mustn't know we are following him and Naruko. Use a genjutsu to mask your presence. Okay. She stared at the teen. Who is he? I don't know, Dog answered honestly. But if nobody except us noticed his presence, then the barrier is ineffective and our guards useless. If he works for an enemy village, then we're in big trouble. He seems interested in Naruko. Do you think he's aware of her condition? I hope he does not, he said. I really do. Ichiraku's was the same place that he remembered. Well, Ayame was a little younger, but the only disturbing thing was the color of her skin. To be this red, Was she ill? And for once, the villagers weren't glaring at him, but at Naruto. The first time he had noticed this behavior, he locked eyes with the girl. The sad, dead look on her face was the same that he had worn himself during his childhood, before he met his friends. And what about the dread in her gaze, when she had stared back at him? She was obviously afraid he would reject her. Instead, he had glared back at the villagers. It must have been disturbing for them to see a team with the demon girl if he heard them well. But they quickly decided to focus on other, more important matters. Yeah, the kusanagi on his back truly was intimidating. Well, Sai-san, will that be your order? Tuche asked with a hollow tone. Yes. The man nodded, before giving him the 10 bowls of ramen. Never thought I would see someone eating as much as an akimichi, he muttered, unaware of Naruto's sensitive hearing. He ignored him, like he ignored Naruto's shocked expression as she saw him eat twice as much food than her in less than a minute. When he finished, she was staring at him dumbly, before looking at her 5 bowls of ramen. She began to eat at a surprising speed, as if she could beat his record. Tucci kept his laugh in check, and Ayame only had eyes for Naruto. The mysterious observers seemed to have disappeared. So, Sai-san? She asked with a predatory look. I never saw you in Konoha? Where were you hiding? It was time for Naruto to invent a believable lie. It does not surprise me you don't know me since I never stay in town for long. I prefer to go out in the field. Your missions must be important. It depends. They go from protect this man to save that cat. More the former than the latter, but it happens. The team noticed that Naruto had stopped eating and was now looking sideways at him. Ayame kept her look. Naruto found it creepy. And your team? Perhaps I know them. He smiled. I doubt it. Haku-san is too shy to talk to anyone outside of the group. Zabu-san isn't a social jerk, and Yamato-sensei is one of the most private people around. I would be surprised if someone other than the Hawkage knew we exist. She nodded, and strangely enough, her face reddened even more. She closed her eyes, and seemed absorbed in deep thought. And then she tried to close the distance between them. A secret team, with a lot of missions. You must be a very competent ninja. She was now sitting 1 meter away from him. Okay, what was wrong with her? Why was she acting so ill? And I like competent men. Was she hitting on him? Well, I am quite capable in a fight, yes, he said. As he saw Ayame blink, Naruto hesitated. What could he do to stop the inevitable flirting scene? Fortunately, his guardian angel came in the form of a bratty girl. Really? She shouted as she put herself between the two teens, much to Ayame's displeasure. Can you teach me an awesome technique? Yes. Oh, come on, T. She stopped talking. You accept? Why shouldn't I? He asked. She seemed at a loss for words. It's just that I never... She stared at him with awe. I don't know what to say. Then say nothing, he said. But aren't you in the academy? Why don't you ask the teachers for help instead? She bit her lower lip. They don't like me? They never help me. Another clue. Then I will, he told her. You promise? She asked expectantly. He smiled. Of course, Naruto-chan. Ayame was looking at them with awe. Much to his displeasure, Naruto understood it only made him much more awesome than he already was in her mind. Naruto did not care. Then, why not tomorrow morning, boss? Unknown to Naruto decided to follow her. Hiding on the top of a building, the vessel stared at the young girl as she returned home. In his apartment, to be precise. As much as he knew that it was creepy and just plain wrong to stalk a child, he felt he had to watch over her. Naruto's suspicions were now confirmed. He had no doubts about her identity anymore. Yet, he still couldn't believe the all but stated truth. She was another himself. What had happened? What force sent him in a world where he was a girl and not a boy? Was it a powerful genjutsu? A trick? He doubted it since the level of detail was far too high for an illusion, and its creator couldn't have known about unimportant things like Ichiraku's or the habits of the other genin. Except the QB. Taking away his jacket, Naruto channeled his chakra to his belly and stared at the appearing seal. It was a total mess. The seal now looked like a spider's web, with 9 circles inside of it. 9 spirals were enclosed by them. And in the center of the web, a form that looked disturbingly like an eye. The form of the web seemed to change. It was moving, like a living creature. Closing his eyes, Naruto entered his mind. When he arrived, he discovered it wasn't the same sewer anymore. His mindscape had changed. The water wasn't troubled, but as clear as crystal. The corridors now looked like they were made of the purest steel, and were now illuminated, no longer dark and gloomy. "QB!" Naruto shouted, but he didn't get any answer. It was at this moment that he saw the QB's cage. It was a spider's web now, a web of dark metal, constantly shifting and transforming. 9 spheres of crystal were trapped by the construct, and Naruto could see a red light inside of them. And in the center of the whole thing, another sphere. But inside of it, he could only see deep darkness. Between the threads, the teen saw strange mirrors, filled with blurry images. Approaching, Naruto touched one of them. The images soon became clearer. He viewed himself. He watched a younger clone of him, at a hospital, healing a wounded Sasuke with medical jutsu. Disturbed, Naruto looked into another mirror. This time, he saw another himself summoning snakes, under the gaze of Orochimaru. In another mirror, he was wearing orange armor and locked in a sword fight against an enraged Zabuza. In another, he was training alongside Sasuke and Itachi, his Sharingan observing Itachi's masterful accuracy with kunai. In another, he was wearing a black suit and dancing with Hinata under strange, multicolored lights. In another, he was smiling as he set a village on fire, killing everyone in the vicinity, before being challenged by a blind Sasuke. In another, he was commanding the trees and plants, under the kind stares of Tsunade and Shizun. In another, he was wearing an Akatsuki cloak and fighting against an adult Gaara alongside Deidara. In another world, he was in the middle of a genjutsu battle with Itachi Uchiha himself. And it continued, ad infinitum. In one mirror, he was a hero, in another a monster. He saw himself as the greatest of all warriors, and the weakest of all civilians. Naruto watched images showing him training under the Sandaime, Kurenai, Itachi, and many more. Sometimes he was dating Sakura, or Temari, or Ayame, or some girl he had never met. In each mirror, something was different. "What the fuck?" was the only thing he found worth saying. The Sandaime Hokage was calmly reading Jiraiya's reports about a mysterious organization when he sensed a chakra signature in the vicinity. Looking up, the old man noticed the Anbu with a dog mask in front of him. "What is it, Kakashi?" he asked. The younger ninja removed his mask, revealing his handsome face and his mismatched eyes. His Sharingan's 3 tomos were swirling. "Hokage-sama, I am afraid to say that we have a fake ninja infiltrated in the village." Sarutobi frowned. "A spy?" "I don't know, but he seems to be interested in Naruto." The old man's eyes widened. "Explain me everything, in detail." "We were watching over Naruto like all times, and she ran into him. He looks like a normal genin, if a bit dirty, but he has an insane amount of chakra reserves. In fact, he is more or less a Beiju without a tail." "That's disturbing. The only person known with this level of chakra reserves is Kisame Hoshigaki, an S-rank missing nin." "Yes, but that is not the only worrying element about this false ninja. It's his weapon." Kakashi stopped. "The last time I saw it, this sword was in the hands of one of your students." "The Kusanagi." The Sandaime stood up immediately. "This boy is carrying the Kusanagi." The Anbu nodded, and Sarutobi scowled. "Hokage-sama, what do we do about him?" "I want 5 Anbu watching him and Naruto at all times. I will warn all the Junin and ask them to keep an eye on him. If he is related to Orochimaru, then he mustn't be underestimated. If he is Orochimaru in disguise, then we need to take him by surprise. He never cared about collateral damages, and attacking him inside of the village without preparation would be disastrous. And what about Naruto? He promised to train her. Sarutobi's eyes narrowed. Had his student decided to steal the Kyuubi? To take revenge on his teacher through one of the people he cared about the most? Kakashi, if he tries to corrupt her, if he tries to hurt her, if he tries to capture her, then stop him, no matter the cost. Kakashi nodded gravely. I will, Hokage-sama. A man was staring at the battlefield, his attention focused on the tiny little disturbance in space. It was not big enough to warp its surroundings and almost invisible, but he could sense it. He had observed the fight between the Kyuubi's vessel and the snake Sannin, and had found it entertaining, the results more than anything. He even forgot about his original goal, to observe Sasuke Uchiha's potential. Instead, he was currently analyzing this incredible thing. It was a portal in space itself, a gate to somewhere else in the cosmos. He had never heard of something like this, so it was probably a completely unique phenomenon. And if the slight diminution in size that he noticed was of any indication, a very ephemeral one too. What should he do? He would probably never find something like this again, so it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But was it worth the risk? After a quick debate with himself, he decided that yes, it was. Without the Kyuubi, the plan was ruined, and if there was a slight chance of recuperating the vessel, then he had to take it. Heck, he might even find something interesting on the other side of this portal. The man advanced and disappeared into the void. This Disclaimer: I don't own Naruto. Chapter 2: Alternate Reality. It was a normal morning in Konoha. Most people were asleep. Sasuke Uchiha was training alone, and a blonde girl was running in place. Sai-sensei, what will you teach me? How to teleport, how to breath fire, how to fly. Naruto smiled. They were at a special training ground with some trees and 3 logs. A few stray memories rushed through Naruto's mind, but he ruthlessly repressed them. He would be to Naruto everything Kakashi had not been to him. A mentor, a teacher, a confidant. I will teach you how to climb on trees. Her face was immediately covered by a disappointed look. But I already know how to do it. Like this? He asked as he began to walk on the bark of one big willow, much to Naruto's amazement. When he reached the top, the vessel turned around and locked eyes with his student. Want to try? The girl immediately ran and fell after 3 steps. Naruto calmly jumped next to her. Are you hurt? No, I'm not, she snarled before rising up. I'm just surprised. It is normal for your first time, he said calmly. The base of this exercise is to control the amount of chakra in your feet. Too much and you break the bark, not enough, and you don't adhere to the surface. She stared at him with a questioning look. He sighed. Chakra is the fusion of your mental and physical energy. Basically, it's your stamina-made form, and the fuel of all jutsu and all ninja techniques. He made a hand seal. If you're want to channel your chakra and focus, then make this seal and concentrate. You will sense it. Naruto obeyed and closed her eyes. Naruto sensed her chakra and found that her reserves were lower than his own when he had been the same age. The sex difference, perhaps? Was her seal different than his own? The Kyuubi was still in her, however. He had learned to recognize this foul power's distinctive aura. As he saw her walking on the tree and falling after 8 steps, the teenager understood that her chakra control was also better than his own at the same age, and as precise as his current mastery, aka average. After a few exercises, he was sure she would succeed at doing what he had never done, to create a normal bunshin. When will you graduate, Naruto? Naruto asked. In a week, she said as she tried the exercise again, this time making 10 steps. And do you feel ready? Of course I feel ready, she answered. It was a lie, obviously, but it was expected. He had always refused to admit his weaknesses at the same age. Then I won't have to help you with the basics. He knew he was toying with her, but he wanted her to be completely honest with him. It was somewhat hypocritical, since he didn't even give her his name, but he intended to reveal it when she was ready. Naruto found himself wondering if Jiraiya and Kakashi had thought the same thing. That is, if Orochimaru had told the truth, and not lied. His doubts had ultimately led him to decide not to confront the Sandaime. If he was the same as the one Naruto had known, and if his old student was right, then Naruto would probably not be allowed to teach Naruto anything, or might be used as a weapon, or might be directly sent to Marino Ibiki for a muscled interrogation. Even if the Sandaime was as kind as he had appeared to Naruto, the vessel didn't know how he would react to his revelations. The idea of alternate worlds already sounded half insane in his own opinion. He could be sent to a mental institution, or worse. Of course, there was the possibility of DNA tests. But if the divergent elements between this Konoha and his own were more numerous than expected, they might fail to help. How could he prove he was an alternate Naruto if they had different parents? All options being risky, Naruto had decided to say nothing, to train Naruto in secret and perhaps to contact a seal master on his own. The seal didn't seem dangerous, simply disturbing and useless. It wouldn't be too difficult. Naruto only talked to the Hokage once per month or after a prank. As long as she didn't talk to the old man, everything would be fine. Of course, she would talk to him after graduation, and then he would have to explain himself. But when that time came, he would have found a believable story to tell. He was so screwed it was almost funny. Naruto bit her lower lip. Well, I would need help with some things. Naruto smiled. It's the Bunshin, isn't it? He asked with false innocence. The little girl stared at him blankly. How do you know? I guessed it. He stared at the tree. You have huge reserves of chakra, but with little control over them. The Bunshin's chakra requirement is so insignificant that it is extremely difficult for a person like you. They can't help but overpower the technique. Her jaw dropped. You mean I will never be able to create a Bunshin? No, I mean that without enough control your efforts are in vain. But fortunately, he smirked. I can help you. How? She asked avidly. By increasing your level of control over your chakra, through exercises like this one. After you reach the top, I will teach you another one, and you should be able to master the technique before your graduation. He suddenly had an idea to motivate her. And if you master the Bunshin, then I will teach you one of my jutsu. Really? She shouted. As he nodded, she hugged him. Please, tell me it's a big one. Really good one, he promised. But only if you succeed. Naruto was already on the top of the willow. For the next exercise, they went to the bathhouse. Incognito, of course. In Naruto's opinion, the water's temperature was relaxing, and it was one of the places where they would be left alone by Konoha's townsfolk. Nobody wanted to see the demon girl nude. She wasn't nude, of course. He wasn't a pervert, despite Jiraiya's mentoring. Only wearing a practical white swimsuit that he had bought for her, since the merchants were less than enthusiastic when Naruto had come with him the first time. Even Naruto's menacing stare didn't convince them to sell her something. He, on the other hand, was simply wearing orange boxers and Tsunade's necklace. Hey, Sai-sensei, what is that? She asked. It's beautiful. It's a gift from someone that... He stopped. How should he consider Tsunade now? If Orochimaru had told him the truth, then she had lied to him. But on the other hand, she had risked her life to save him from the snake the first time they had met. Perhaps she wasn't aware of his teacher's bad tutoring. I love her dearly. Her. Naruto's knowing look immediately told Naruto that he had just made a big mistake. You have a girlfriend. Damn, I'm already imagining Ayame-chan's face when... She isn't my girlfriend, he protested. She is far too old for that. Yeah, whatever, she said with a smile on her face. And why does the age difference matter? It matters when she's old enough to be my grandmother. And that I somehow consider her as such, despite everything, he found himself thinking. But anyway, I don't have a girlfriend. Then talk to Ayama-chan. She is only waiting for your proposition. She winked at him, imitating a kiss. Or perhaps it's because of me. Naruto smiled. Maybe, but back to business. The next exercise is an extension of tree walking, the water walking. He stepped on the hot water. It's basically the same thing, but since the surface is not solid, it's much harder. She nodded. But why are we doing this here in the men's bathhouse? Why not near a river? He had already prepared an answer. The heat will relax you and help you concentrate. And at this hour, every man is somewhere else other than there. It was the truth, but the real reason he chose this place was far more different. He hoped to meet Jiraiya, his old teacher, to show him the seal, and knowing his habits, the pervert would soon try to peep at the women through the hole in the wall. And he was pretty sure only he, Jiraiya Ebisu, Kakashi, and maybe the Sandaime were aware of its existence. Yeah, he suddenly realized that all his teachers were perverts. Cursed libido. The seal had changed, and he didn't know how to repair it. The Kyuubi was nowhere to be found, and Naruto couldn't access its chakra anymore. The strange mirrors inside of his mindscape also bothered him. The situation wasn't that bad, however. Without the Kyuubi's chakra in his coils, his control over his own had increased dramatically. He was not even close of being able to compete with Sakura or Tsunade in this domain, but at least he was now on the level of a normal Chunin. Practicing this exercise with Naruto would benefit him too. While he was observing his students' attempts and failures, Naruto unexpectedly gained the memories of one of the clones he had sent at the library earlier in the morning. The information he had gathered on astronomy, mathematics, and physics were interesting. If only the original could understand them. He found himself regretting not having studied well at the academy. If he had, he would have been able to find a rational explanation for everything that had happened to him lately. Heck, he might have found a way to return home. Hey, why not correct that mistake, he thought. He created another clone who immediately left for the library. Somewhere, 2 clones dispelled. This time, the memories were more useful. The first one had been a member of the Rasengan Training Division, and the second of the Kusanagi Training Division. The reports were mixed. While Naruto was now sure he would be able to use the Rasengan without his clones at the end of the day, 100 of his copies were working at it, so it was only a matter of time. His swordsmanship was the same as before. Inexistent. He did find how Orochimaru managed to make the sword grow, a chakra pulse, a discovery one of the clones had paid for with his life when the blade had cut through his head. But without the talent to back up this wonderful technique, the Kusanagi was only useful as a spear. He lacked Orochimaru's proficiency, and it was becoming clearer and clearer for him that without a sword master to teach him, his training was a waste of time. He would have to retrieve the weapon later in the day. Naruto sighed. He briefly wondered where he would find a master willing to train him, until he thought of a solution. The toads. Gamabunta wielded a blade, so maybe another amphibian knew how to use one as well. He had to ask Gamakichi about it. Biting his finger, tasting his own blood, Naruto began the hand seals necessary for the summoning jutsu, before slamming his palm on the ground. Nothing happened. Naruto tried again, and again, and again, until he noticed Naruto's questioning look. He locked eyes with her. I have a little problem? The understatement of the century. One of the only techniques he knew wasn't working anymore. Calming himself, Naruto closed his eyes and thought about the possible reasons behind this disaster. Perhaps his contract with the toads had been severed when he had crossed the barrier between his world and this one. Maybe the distance was simply too great for this jutsu to work. The result was the same. No summons anymore. Naruto repressed a scream of frustration. Why was the universe so intent on messing with him? What is it, boss? Naruto asked him. He sighed. It seems one of my techniques don't work anymore, he answered honestly. How is that possible? I don't know, and frankly, I really don't want to talk about it. He looked up at his student. What about you? Have you already mastered the exercise? Yes. She backed up her claims with a demonstration. His sister clone was now standing perfectly on the water. Naruto smiled and he joined her. He cocked his head towards her. Are you ready for a spar on the water? Of course. Then let's begin. Less than a minute later, Naruto was sinking in the bath, lifting her up above the liquid with his left hand. Naruto sighed. Let me guess, your only recurring sparring partner is a log, or teachers and classmates outclassing you in everything. Am I right? He already knew the answer to his own question, since it had been the same thing with him, but seeing her nod angered the blonde teen. What the fuck was Iruka doing in this universe? At least he had corrected him some of the time in his homeworld. Sorry, but your fighting style is full of flaws. You may get killed if you continue to use it. Naruto smirked. We will have to correct that. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. The girl looked at the limp form in front of her. Sakura Haruna was glaring at her, still under the shock of being outclassed by the dead last of the class. Her fighting prowess, Sai-sensei called it taijutsu, had improved dramatically over the last 5 days, and 2 days before graduating, she was now able to beat all the girls in the class. Of course, Sai already told her that the clan heirs weren't allowed to practice their family's style at school, but her utter pawning of the civilians' children was clear proof of the effectiveness of the teenagers' teachings. This finishes today's spars, Iruka announced. Everyone can return home. As Naruto was about to leave, the teacher put one hand on her shoulder. I want to have a word with you. Naruto frowned. What's the matter, Iruka-sensei? Another punishment. But she had won all the fights. It was unjust. Have I done something wrong? No, he replied. But I want to know who taught you that style. She bit her lower lip. Why? And how do you know? I am just a bit curious, the teacher stated. This style is a bit different from the standardized one, so I thought someone trained you in using it. And you confirmed my suspicions. Naruto looked at him strangely. What does it matter? He is a nice guy. Sai-sensei was one of the greatest people she had ever met. He was friendly like Ayame-chan and Tsuchi-Gigi, kind like the Hokage-Gigi, and willing to train her. She would repay him well when she became Hokage. I only want to know who he is. This style is a bastardized, if efficient version of the Academy 1. I have never seen it before. Naruto smirked. I doubt you know him. Sai-sensei is a genin. Who? He asked her. Her eyes widened. You don't know him? No. Can you describe him? He has blonde hair, blue eyes. Always looks like a hobo. Iruka shook his head pensively. I remember all my students, and I don't recall who you are talking about. She bit her lower lip. Perhaps he was in another class. Possible, Iruka said. I will do some research. Yeah, but now if you excuse me, I have to go. The teacher nodded, smiling. Yeah, I'm sure that you're occupied. Well, tell this Sai that his defensive stances are useless when the enemy targets the legs, and that he should protect his head a bit more. His style is ineffective against a fast opponent, and, noticing Naruto's dropped jaw, Iruka grinned. What? It's my duty to help my students, especially when they can improve. Naruto was meditating under a tree. He was near the place where he had fought Mizuki in his homeworld. The exercise was meant to increase his chakra control, but he didn't make much progress. In fact, he was more preoccupied with the loss of his summons. His clones didn't find any relevant data, and he was angry. But his experimentations with the Rasengan had worked, and he could now use it without his clones. He also mastered another technique he could teach to Naruto after her graduation. Now, he only had to try the exercises his clones gathered on elemental manipule. Hey, boss, where are you? Covering his ears, Naruto repressed the urge to yell back at the newcomer. "I'm here, Naruto," he said calmly. As soon as she stepped into the clearing, his student immediately hugged him. "Sai-sensei, I beat all the girls in my class." He narrowed his eyes. "Really? One by one?" "One after the other. I am truly the best kunoichi of all time." "She really is a younger me. I'm very happy to see you succeed. It's the best thing a teacher could wish for. But next time, don't yell at me. It makes everyone in the vicinity aware of your presence." "Why is that a bad thing?" she questioned him as they ended their brotherly embrace. "Because some people might have bad intentions. If the enemy notices you too soon, you're going to be in big trouble." He learned this lesson the hard way at the bridge. If Kabuto hadn't seen them and attacked Sakura before she could reach and help Yamato, then the fight could have taken a very different turn. "Yeah," says the orange eyesore. Naruto deadpanned. "When you have the henge, it's not important. And the enemy tends to underestimate ninjas in bright colors. I'm talking about your attitude." "What is wrong with my attitude?" she asked wearily. "You act as if you want everyone to notice you," which she was trying to do, obviously. "You shout all the time. You make your presence known each time you enter a building. You tell everyone you want to be Hokage." "I am going to be Hokage," she yelled at him again. Apparently, he had hit a nerve. He narrowed his eyes at her. "And why do you want to be Hokage?" "Everyone will then be forced to respect me." He stayed silent a moment, before using the armor-piercing question. "Are they truly worth the effort?" Naruto looked at him with a blank expression. Naruto knew he was in some way cruel, but he felt this talk was necessary. It had taken his retrieval mission with Sasuke for him to fully realize he needed to mature. His inability to understand Sasuke and to do what was necessary only brought him problems. His needless rivalry with him, coupled with his less than reasonable handling of his teammate, were the real causes of the Chihiya's desertion. Pursuing the title of Hokage for nothing more than respect was simply illusory. The villagers would respect Naruto only if she acted like a martyr for a decade, and if Orochimaru's rant was the blunt truth, then Naruto didn't need to earn anything. They were indebted to her, and would have, to repay the years of suffering they had inflicted on the other vessel in some way or another. If Naruto truly wanted to follow the path of Hokage, then she had to do it for the right purposes. Not because the Sandim told her to, or for perhaps empty words of praise. She needed a good justification. He had returned to Konoha for the same reason he had stood against Orochimaru, to protect the few people he truly loved. And even now, when he saw Naruto treated as badly as he was, by the same people despite the differences between this world and his own, he was still doubtful he had made the right decision. "Are you going to work all your life to earn the respect of the people treating like you like the scum of the earth? Are you going to forgive the people shunning you for nothing? Hokage won't bring you their acknowledgement. It is their acknowledgement that will bring you the title of Hokage, not the other way around. If you want to be Hokage, you will have to become this town's most respected champion." He stared in the direction of the memorial. "If you want to be a hero, then your path will be one of pain and sacrifice. It is only then that your name will be written on this monument, far away from there." "Then they will write my name on it," she announced. "Only after you died," he stated, and shock spread over Naruto's face. "It's a memorial, where the names of all the heroes that died for this place are celebrated. If you want acknowledgement, then you will gain it there." He locked eyes with her. "Now, I want you to answer this question with sincerity. Why do you want to be Hokage?" For at least 5 minutes, the clearing stayed silent. Finally, the little girl murmured something. "To protect my dearest people." Naruto smiled. "You will, I promise I will help you too." Naruto smiled back. "Yeah, but now back to business. What is wrong with yelling at the enemy?" The vessel sighed. Some things never changed. "Aren't they cute?" Yugao asked, "Dog-senpai?" Kakashi was as silent as a rock. He had observed Sai, if that was his real name, and the Anbu was convinced it wasn't, and found him. Disturbing. The sheer number of clones he could make had pretty much confirmed his status as a bijou without a tail, but how could he even know the cage bunshin? Perhaps Orochimaru had taught it to him, and in this case, this genin was surely a high-ranking soldier in the Snake's organization. But he seriously doubted that the Sannin would give the Kusanagi to anyone, even an elite agent. If this was really Orochimaru in disguise, then why was he acting so openly? The Snake knew better than to show his sword in public, or even expose himself at all. Heck, the Orochimaru he knew would never be able to act like a big brother to anyone. Finally, another point truly disturbed the Anbu. This boy knew the Rasengan. Only he, the Sandaime and Jiraiya knew how to use this jutsu. Recreating it was next to impossible without advanced knowledge of the tailed beasts and chakra manipulation. Without Kushina, Minato would never have created this technique at all. Who was this guy? Kakashi, another Anbu, asked, "Why are you acting like that? Is it a cat?" Kakashi looked sideways at the four agents, tasked with the duo's surveillance. "No, I need to go for a walk," he deadpanned as he stepped in the clearing, much to his partner's annoyance. After a quick search, Kakashi found what he was looking for. Some of the boy's hair. "Yuga, would you kindly take this to the hospital? I want to test something." The day before graduation, Naruto channeled her chakra and made a hand seal. 3 perfect copies of herself appeared in the clearing, all grinning. 1 minute later, a shout resonated in all of Konoha. "I did it! I fucking mastered the bunshin!" "My felicitations, my student," he complimented her while clapping his hands. True, she could have announced her success without the excess language, but he was willing to let it slide this time. Her joy was simply too pure to be tarnished now. "I did it, boss!" she screamed as she hugged him. Resting his palms on her shoulders, he smiled. The moment lasted for a moment before they separated. Naruto's face was as red as a tomato. "Thank you, Sai-sensei, for everything." His smile didn't waver. "It's nothing." "No," she said. "No, it's not. I wouldn't have been able to do the jutsu without your help, Sensei. You have helped me train when almost nobody even wanted to talk to me, and I couldn't have progressed this much without you." She bowed slightly. "Thank you, boss." Naruto, touched, returned the gesture. "You know, Naruto, I remember something. I promised to teach you a jutsu if you ever mastered the bunshin." She stood up, gazing at him like a hawk. "What kind of jutsu?" He smirked, before disappearing in a cloud of smoke and silently reappearing behind Naruto. He put a kunai near her neck. "Give me your money," he yelled, much to her horror, before laughing and stashing the weapon. Naruto stayed immobile before awing. Badass. The Shunshin. Quick, efficient, silent. He didn't want to teach her the cage bunshin, because having Naruto explain to her future Junin instructor how she got her hands on a forbidden jutsu would be troublesome for them both. And the Rasengan was simply too well known for being taught to a child. He didn't know how the Sandaime, Kakashi, or Jiraiya would react. Maybe later. He had learned the basics of the Shunshin from books, and the clones had helped him master it very quickly. They had also discovered some ingenious uses of the tree-walking technique, but didn't find any relevant jutsu in the library. All the knowledge about techniques was jealously kept secret by the clans, the village, and the ninjas themselves. The only public jutsu were the basic ones, unfortunately. It took Naruto only 5 hours to master the technique. Her higher chakra control was certainly the cause of this result. "You know what, Naruto?" he told her. "Since your graduation is tomorrow, why not do something special for the occasion?" "What?" He grinned and explained to her his plan. She immediately agreed, a smirk on her face. Yeah, some things never changed. The day of the graduation came. Naruto was ready to pass, and Sai-sensei, after much deliberation, had finally decided to change his wardrobe for something more presentable than half-torn clothes. He was now wearing a black shirt, purple pants, and an orange cloak fully concealing his awesome sword. Naruko wondered why he was doing that, but Sai assured her it was simply to not make people uneasy. The Hokage monument, watching over the town, now had a new face, courtesy of the boss. Naruko's grinning head was staring at the town, much to its citizens' displeasure. How the genin even succeeded in doing something like this in one night was a mystery for Naruko. But he promised to teach her how after her graduation. She was confident, of course. While she was an utter failure at academics, her accuracy was now average, her taijutsu very good, and she could finally do the bunshin. Her success was assured. But during the course of the exams, she noticed something strange with her teachers. While Iruka seemed happy to see her succeed, Mizuki's eyes were filled with a barely restrained rage. So much that he looked downright murderous when she made the 3 needed bunshin. In the end, she proudly showed her prized genin headband to the crowd of parents assembled before the school, much to their anger and Sai-sensei's joy. "I am a genin now, boss." "I know, Naruko. I never doubted it," he smirked mischievously. "Let's go to Ichiraku's my treat." "Cool," she shouted. "I knew you would understand my needs."